In this video today, we're going to be chatting about 5 underrated tips for street photography. In an earlier video, I mentioned tips that are directly tied to your camera, such as using certain types of lighting in your photos or what mode to use for street photography. This video, however, is for tips that I don't think most photographers really think of when it comes to walking around and capturing photos. So grab your camera and let's get started. For street photography, less can actually mean more. You don't need to carry all your equipment around. Instead, limit your gear to just one camera or 1 to 2 lenses. By doing so, you'll be able to move quickly and more easily compared to bringing everything around in your backpack and capture those fleeting moments on the street instead of constantly changing lenses and worrying about that, which in itself can be very annoying. But why is this important? Well, by reducing your equipment, you can focus more on the scene in front of you rather than fiddling with your gear. Rather than worrying about what lens you'll need to capture a certain scene, bringing only 1 to 2 lenses really makes you think about your composition and trying to capture it with what you have. And it makes it easier for you and less stressful for you when planning for that photo walk. It allows you to really familiarize yourself with that particular piece of gear and get comfortable with it. For example, going out with the 55mm prime lens multiple times, after a certain point, you'll be so familiar with that focal length, you'll start viewing compositions in that focal length, and that can be very powerful. On another unrelated note, it also means you can blend in more with your surroundings and not draw too much attention to yourself. Rather than carrying a big old backpack around with all your gear and walking around the city with that, try bringing just a small sling bag. You'll probably end up being less intimidating for your potential subjects, and it's easier for you with carrying less weight. Speaking of limiting your gear, that is related a little bit to the next tip. Street photography is very unpredictable, whether that's because of the weather, the subjects, the type of events happening on that specific day, whatever it is. You never know when a photo opportunity will present itself. So always bring your camera with you. Whether you're heading to work, meeting a friend for coffee, or just taking a walk, always have your camera right next to you. But what if you're just going about your daily routine? Can't you just leave your camera at home? No! Bring your camera with you. The perfect light could come right on the scene and you'll regret not bringing your camera with you. This combos with the first tip as well. The lighter your bag is, the more likely you'll end up bringing it with you. The more you bring your camera around with you, the more equipped you'll be able to capture the scene wherever you are. Living in a city, you're bound to run out of new places to go to for photography, which may make you bored. But in that case, why not just revisit some of your favorite places? Revisiting old spots can be a great way to find new inspiration and see things in a new light. But why is this important in street photography? Well, sometimes we get so caught up in exploring new places, me included, that we forget about the beauty of the familiar. And because we are so familiar with that location and we know the ins and outs of that area, we know what spots are perfect for the type of shots that we like to capture the most. Whether that's the color, the way the light from the sun hits the scene, the style of clothing people wear in that area, etc. Taking that a step further, if you keep going to a location, you'll eventually start noticing where the light comes from, at what time, when it's the busiest, when it's not the busiest, etc. And then from there, you can start planning out your shoot to maximize the amount of time you surround yourself in those particular conditions that you like shooting in. Street photography often involves a lot of walking, so it's important to have a good, comfortable pair of shoes. Look for shoes that are lightweight, breathable, and have good support. But more importantly, find shoes that are reliable and will allow you to walk with no issues. Trust me, your feet will thank you later. This one may sound pretty obvious, and it probably is obvious, but I feel most people don't really think about it. Not only for your comfort, but just overall for your photography. The more comfortable your feet are when doing street photography, the longer you'll be able to walk around the city. And the more you'll be able to walk around the city, the more opportunities you'll be able to photograph. And because street photography, again, can be so unpredictable, the more you're out there shooting, the more you'll be able to capture in practice. Finally, when it comes to street photography, it's important to shoot with purpose. Before you take a photo, ask yourself why you're taking it. Is it because of the light, the color, the composition? By being intentional about your shots, you'll be able to create more meaningful and impactful images. And also, this can help you immensely when it comes to post-processing. You will immediately be able to have an idea and direction you can start off when it comes to editing your photos. Do you want to emphasize the direction of the light or bring out a particular color? Is there a certain subject you really want to bring out more in the scene? Whatever the reason is, being deliberate with why you're taking the photos can lead to a more conscious decision when doing photography. And there they are, 5 underrated tips for street photography. We've explored each tip and discussed why I believe each tip is important. I hope you found these tips helpful and that these tips can help you find more opportunities and inspiration for your photography. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like and subscribe. If you have any comments, leave them in the comment section below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next week. Later.